Greetings to you viewers. My name is Pastor Yvonne Chipindu. As we are still continuing on, is Jesus God? Remember, even the scriptures, God told us that the potter has got power over his clay. So because Jesus is the potter, he has got power. That's why he had power over nature. That's why he had power over sickness. That's why he had power over so many situations. That's why he even had power over death. Remember him resurrecting Lazarus, him resurrecting Jairus' daughter. It was because he had got power over the things that he created. It was because he is God. So everything is under him. Remember, even God gave him a name which is above all names, and this name is Jesus. So yes, Jesus is God. I need to take you to the scriptures. We need to read from Matthew chapter 14. I shall read from verse 24. Remember, just before this, a brief background. Jesus had fed those 5,000 men, and all these men, after he fed them, he then sent them away. And after this, when he sent them away, he even sent his disciples. I need to read with you from verse 24. From verse 23 I shall read. And after he had dismissed the multitudes, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. When it was evening, he was still there alone. Remember, on verse 22, he even directed the disciples and he told them to go into the boat, and he told them that I will meet you. They didn't know where they were going. They didn't know where he was going to meet them, but he told them that I will meet you. So now he was alone praying. In verse 24, but the boat was by this time out on the sea, many furlongs. A furlong is 1/8 of a mile, distant from the land, beaten and tossed by the waves, for the wind was against them. So this wind was against this boat where the disciples were. I need to continue verse 25. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus came to them walking on the sea. So look at it. There was a wave. The disciples are in this boat, and now Jesus is not there with them. He told them that I will meet you. So now he comes to them walking on the sea. This is the same sea that there were waves. There was wind. The disciples are afraid. But Jesus is walking. Why? Like I said, that a potter has got power over everything that he makes. So now Jesus, because he is the creator, he is walking on the sea whilst there are waves. I need to continue. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and said, it is a ghost. Imagine, it is at night, number one. Number two, there is a wave. They are in this boat. They are afraid of dying. And now they see a man walking on the sea. And because it is at night, they think that it is a ghost. So imagine, they are now terrified of two things, the ghost and this wave. And they think they are about to die. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and said it is a ghost. And they screamed out with fright. Imagine. These were only men. There were no women there. They are now frightened. They are screaming. They are crying. Maybe someone is saying, so where is Jesus? Why did he send us here alone? Where is he? He knew. Some will say, especially Thomas. Thomas would say he knew that we are going to face this. So does he want us to die? These are the disciples who are frightened. You know, when someone is frightened, he can say a whole lot of stuff. So now I need to continue to read. But instantly, he spoke to them, saying, take courage. This is Jesus. because he is the creator of it all. He is telling his disciples, imagine, nekutya kwavaiita, neposition yavakanga vari, situation yavakanga vave, vachitya. Now Jesus is telling them that take courage. Why would he say that? He was saying that because he knew he is above everything. He knew he is above these waves. Even the ghosts that they thought they had seen, he knew he is above that. So now he goes on to tell them, take courage. I am. Look at that. We have seen this I am in Exodus. When God told Moses that when they ask you, tell them that I am. And now in Matthew 14, the disciples, they are in a difficult situation. And Jesus is telling them that take courage, I am. Meaning that the same person who was talking to Moses is this same person. And the same God who spoke to Moses and sent Moses is this same person who is here. Because he goes on to tell us his brand. He goes on to tell us his name. He goes on to tell us who he is. And he said, take courage. I am. Stop being afraid. So this is all he said. I am. Verse 28. And Peter answered him, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. So now, Peter answered Jesus and said, if you are really our master, if you are really our teacher, command me to come to you. And Jesus told Peter, and he commanded him to come. I need to read verse 29. He said, come. So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water, and he came toward Jesus. But when he perceived and felt the strong wind, look at that. Jesus felt this strong wind, but Jesus could not fear. Why? Because he knew he was above it. And now Peter, because he was not above it, he perceived. And when he felt the strong wind, he was frightened. He lost focus and he began to sink. He cried out, Lord, save me. There is no way you can cry to someone to save you who is not stronger than you. So now Peter is crying to God. He is crying to Jesus. He is crying to the creator of everything. And he's saying, Lord, save me. Because he himself, as a natural man, as a physical man, was sinking. But now this Superman, but now God came and saved him. Instantly, Jesus reached out his hand and caught and held him, saying to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" So now Jesus saved Peter instantly. And now he goes on to tell him, why don't you have faith? Why don't you believe? In verse 32. And when they got into the boat, this is Jesus and Peter. So when Jesus went into the boat, the wind ceased. The boat was shaking. There was wind, the waves were there because Jesus was not there. But when as soon as he went into the boat, the wind ceased. Why? Because someone who is greater, because someone who is mightier, because God entered into that boat. And when God entered into that boat, the situation changed. Everything changed. The waves ceased. The storm calmed. Why? Because their creator was there. So I am saying, yes, Jesus is God. That's why he was able to heal even those who had leprosy. That's why he was able to heal even that boy, that man actually, who was born blind. Imagine this man was around 30 to 40 years. So he was born blind from day 1 up to 40 years when he met Jesus Christ. And when he met him, because he met God, because he met the greater of the greatest, he met the mighty God. He changed the situation just the same as he did here. When he got into the boat, the waves ceased. Why? Because Jesus. Why? Because God had entered. So I am saying, children of God, all you can think of, all you can say, Jesus is God, because whenever he visits, whenever you call out his name, whenever he is around, all the situation normalizes. Remember, he was at a wedding in Cana. Their wine is finished. They wanted wine. But what did he do? Because he has got power over water. He just commanded them to put water in jars. And then he just changed that water into wine. Why? Because he had power over it. So yes, child of God, we have got so many proof to prove that Jesus is God, because only God can change situations. Only God has got power even with nature and men. And if you have enjoyed this message, child of God, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share. Until we meet again tomorrow as we are completing this series, Is Jesus God? Stay blessed.